It's all about building a relationship. If you're a local mason contractor and you don't know who's at your high school in a 5-mile radius, that's your fault.
We're at Waxahachie High School, and this is the construction technology class. In October I decided October was going to be Masonry Month back in June, so that's why we have you guys here today, is to help emphasize some of the careers that are available to a student in the masonry world.
The Texas Masonry Council visited Waxahachie High School as part of our new Masonry Workforce Initiative to educate students about the wide range of opportunities available to them in the field of masonry. Special thanks to the Waxahachie staff, the TMC masonry contractors who led the instruction, and most of all to the students for their hard work and interest in learning about bricklaying. If you're an educator in Texas and you want to introduce your students to an industry that provides financial independence, skills that can jumpstart their career, and work they can be proud of, contact the Texas Masonry Council today. We can help start an NCCER certified masonry class in your school tomorrow.
I think it's a great opportunity, and if some other teacher is out there looking for an opportunity, I think y'all have shown that y'all are willing to help anybody. So let's, there are teachers all over the state doing stuff similar to this, so it's not something that's totally unique to Waxahachie.
To my fellow contractors in Houston, I first of all apologize for not being able to be with you tonight, but due to a change of date, I could not arrange to be there. So I'm there with you in spirit, and I hope I can give you a message that will be exciting to us as an industry and will have great good for us as we move forward in our businesses. I think we all are united on one big challenge, and that is manpower. And as I have reached the point in my life and my company has moved on to another generation, I've just decided I would dedicate my time to do whatever I could to alleviate this challenge to us as an industry. I'm old enough to remember the day when we did not have a manpower shortage. We was more interested in increasing our market share because we had the manpower to do it and not enough work. That has drastically changed. We lost our building ordinances fight this last session, but I believe we can bring it back through the fact that if we increase our manpower, we become more competitive as in the construction world, and therefore be able to maybe reclaim the building ordinances throughout our state. That's my vision. Now, how do we get there? It's going to take you and I as contractors. For a long time, we've depended upon our material suppliers. They've been great to us here in Texas. But I believe it's time for you and I as contractors to step up to the plate and take the load and lead the way and show the construction industry in Texas that masonry is still the king. So we traveled to North Carolina, a few of us did, back in November to visit what I believe is the #1 apprenticeship program in the country and how the contractors were involved and how it keeps improving from day to day. And the one thing that we heard from everyone was the fact it takes the mason contractor to be involved in the program for it to be a success. We cannot go into high schools and start putting masonry in it without us being involved in it, not only at the beginning, but throughout the year that they're teaching the students. They have what you call a pre-apprenticeship program, and that's what I envision for us to have here in Texas. As we put this program in place in the different high schools, it will be put in as a pre-apprenticeship program, but the hours that those students give to that program while in high school can be moved toward the apprenticeship program that they would go into after high school. The other big plus of their program was that we could hire students in the summer. We have to commit to that for this to be a success. We've got to show the young people there is a place for them. There is a job for them. Let's talk about our time that we'll have to spend with these schools as we put this program in place. And it will take our time. It's not going to happen by itself. But not only do we give our time on the front side, We've got to go into those classrooms after the classes start going. They need our input. These teachers may not necessarily be the mason that we want on our wall, but they have teaching ability. But with our help and our people's help going in there and helping these students learn, so it's going to take time, it's going to take our resources, it's going to take our talents to go in there and help these kids along week in, week out. I mean, we may want to take some of our young bricklayers and send them in there to help teach these younger people what's going to be required when they're on the job site. So I don't want us to think it's all about money. It's not. Resources are great, but your time, your talent, and your passion is even greater than your money. So we got to count all the cost. I don't want to paint a picture that it's going to be easy. It's not. It didn't take us overnight to dig the hole we're in, and we're not going to fill it overnight. We're only starting. You know, there's a lot of events through the year, such as Skills USA, Bricklayer 500, Masonry Days. We need to have a face there. We need to be at every single event. So not only does the school official see us as partners, but those young people sees us as their partner. I want those young people's parents or guardians to see us as a partner. But the only way we're going to achieve that is to be there and invite these students to these events so we can show who we are and what we are. When we come to state convention, let's invite the school officials. Let's invite students, or let the school officials invite the students to come to our conventions, maybe at our local contractors meetings. We invite administrators, we invite students, so they see what we're about and they become a part of us, and they want to be like we are. We're great people in reality. Sometimes we can be tough and nasty, and that goes in our construction industry, but at the end of the day, every single one of us have a great heart. And what makes us feel better than anything is helping a young person to improve their life. But we can't do that by staying in our closet. We have to get out, have our face seen, look the best we can, talk the best we can, but more than anything, let them know our trade is artistic. It's not a matter of just being an old bricklayer. We need to drop that kind of phrase. It's not an old bricklayer. We're artists. If you don't believe us, let's go for a ride. I can show you some great buildings that many of you did and had your hands on. And the other thing that we've got to understand, time has changed. My first few days out on the job site, and many of you can probably remember this yourselves, I heard more cuss words than I ever dreamed of in my life, and they were directed to me most of the time. I worked for an old man could put more cuss words together in a sentence and make it sound like English that I'd ever dreamed of. Didn't really help me in life, might have hurt me in places, but time has changed, and we cannot treat the young people in the same manner that we was treated. And we got to face that. We got to make them feel wanted, needed, and important. And I think we can do that as an industry. But they come to work for us in the summer making $14, $15 an hour, whatever you pay your laborers. And they go back to school, they're going right back into the class. They start with a core course, they go into a first year apprenticeship program as a junior, and then a second level apprenticeship program as a senior. So when they graduate and come to us, they have a 10-hour OSHA course with a card in their billfold. They also know how to spread mud. They understand what a head joint is. You're not going to go tell them to get you a bucket of head joints because they're going to understand what it is. They're going to understand the products. They're going to understand the job site. They're not new to it. They've had experience. So we're ahead of the curve from the very beginning. Then they come to us as contractors. Many of us are members of local associations who already have an apprenticeship program. They will go into that program. Or if you're a mason contractor and you have your own apprenticeship program, they can go into that program. Those hours transfer. For this to work, we've got to have a clearinghouse. And the ideal place for the clearinghouse is our state association. Texas Masonry Council can serve as that component that is missing greatly in our industry. Our challenge today is Camerati Masonry trains apprentices. They work for him 1 year. They come to Brazos and they tell us, I'm a bricklayer, and we hire them as a bricklayer. In reality, they're a 1-year apprentice. We have no place to turn to. With a certified program ran through NCCR, we can verify what year they're in before we hire. The program can also be set up in a way that I cannot hire an apprentice that is working for Camarati Masonry or whoever is City Masonry. I don't want to leave none of you out, but you get the picture. I cannot hire them unless I have written permission from the other mason contractor before that apprentice can work and his hours be transferred. The apprentice has the choice of giving up his hours and starting over if he has to move from one company to the other and he's not given that permission. But we've got to have some organization about it. And the only way that can work statewide is through our state association. That's not taking anything away from the local association, because on the local level, that's where the rubber meets the road. But it's a matter of us keeping control of the hours and really training bricklayers, not people for 1 year that says they're a bricklayer, and our industry keeps losing quality that we once claimed on the job site. It's very important. These individuals need to know how important safety is, quality, schedule. There is so many pieces that goes into the game besides just laying the brick on the wall or setting the piece of stone or putting block in the wall. And we do that through a certified apprenticeship program that can be also recognized by the Department of Labor if necessary, but more than anything, be recognized as a program that is actually increasing the value of our companies and of our industry today. So where do we start? I believe we start by putting a program together that we can take to the high schools and get it put into the high schools, NCCR helping us with the instructors, us as mason contractors being a supporter of the program. I believe with every high school, a mason contractor has to sponsor that high school. And what we're saying there is when those students in the summer need a job, we find the job for them. If we can put them in our own company, that is great. If we're not able to put them in our own company, we go to a fellow member of our association and put them in their company. But the only way they can sponsor a high school is that they have to be a member of the local and state association. And I know the minute I said that, some of you probably cringed and said, too expensive. I am a firm believer that we have to revisit our state association due structure. I'm willing and ready to do that as a board member. I've already mentioned it once. I will pursue it stronger because we have to have mason contractor involvement for this program to work. I believe it can work both ways. I believe we can increase our membership, but I also believe we have to make it affordable to the members to be a part of both. And I strongly encourage that. In fact, I strongly encourage local, state, and national. It makes us smarter. It brings us together. It makes us more cohesive with each other as we pursue work, as we pursue bettering our workforce and the industry as a whole. So we're a part of the local association that may have the apprenticeship program, and I hope everyone will eventually. And then the clearinghouse is the state association. And I hope you get the picture here. We establish a program in the high schools. We sponsor those high schools. We give jobs to those students. We benefit from it as a company. We benefit from it as an industry. And I'm a firm believer in 5 years, we can have 400 high schools teaching masonry. When I say teaching masonry, I'm not saying that's a part of the woodworking class or the electrical class. I'm talking about a standalone masonry class. Maybe some of you are naysayers and say that'll never happen. I will take you to North Carolina and show you it can happen and it will happen. I took a picture while I was in North Carolina of a classroom that had the tab on the outside the door, masonry. Before that, it was agriculture. After that, it was woodworking. But think about masonry in the classroom quarter of the school So students knew when they walked through that door, they were being taught masonry. 60 students in one high school walked through that door every day. That was 3 classes, 15 students to the class. 45 students, not 60. 45 students walking through that door every day, learning about masonry and doing it the right way. It doesn't take long for us to run the math and figure out, okay, let's say we have 20% success. Add the numbers up. If we had that many additional people in our workforce, I promise y'all, you can spend more money at next year's auction at the Texas Masonry Council Convention, all right? When I ask you to spend money, you can spend the money because you're making more money. We have to fix our challenge. It's time for us to quit complaining, but it's time for us also to roll our sleeves up and work as a unified group of mason contractors. Notice I'm talking to us as contractors, not suppliers. And for you associate members that are in the room, I don't mean to play it down to you all at all, because we will turn to you. We got to have your help. We can't do it without you, but you can't do it by yourself. It takes us as contractors because we're the ones that are hiring the bricklayers. We're the ones that need the labor on our jobs. We're the one that needs to raise the quality of our jobs. And it's up to us to bring pride back to our industry. I'll tell you off on my age a little bit. I can remember the day that I could go to a job site when I was young and just first getting in to the industry, and all the bricklayers wore white shirt and khaki pants. I had one guy tell me his neighbor for a long time thought he worked in an office because he got in his car every day with a white shirt, khaki pants, and he said every now and then I'd put a tie on to throw my neighbor off. He really thought I was somebody. The fact of the matter was he was somebody. He was an artist. You drive around in Houston, Texas. I've done it myself. Some of the most beautiful masonry buildings anywhere in the country is located in your city. Out at Rice University, some of the best craftsmanship of any place in the country can be found on that campus. We have got to keep that as part of our business and not lose it. And I fear that if we continue down the path, we will continue to drop our square foot of wall space that is masonry because we do not have the people to perform the work. The architects are beginning to recognize that. They love masonry, but they don't design with it for 2 reasons. It hurts schedule because we lack manpower, and our price keeps going up because we're having to pay more for the help we have. I like the fact that bricklayers are making more than they've ever made in their life. You and I work together the same way. We work off of percentages. We take costs plus our profit margins. So the more a bricklayer makes, the more we make. But we also got to worry about being competitive. And I know you are concerned with that as I am. So I hope you will consider this. And I look forward to the day that we can sit down face to face, because we need to hear, as the Workforce Development Committee for the Texas Masonry Council, we need to hear the challenges that you think we're going to face. But I will tell you this. I've reached the age in the life, and I'm of the mind, you're not going to block the road. You can think you're putting roadblocks up. I only see them as a challenge. And with your help, we're going to overcome. And we're going to increase our manpower. We're going to be able to pass our companies down to the next generation. And for many years ahead, we're going to continue to see some of the most beautiful buildings built in America, and they're going to be out of masonry. So consider what I've said. Think about it. I'd love to hear from you. If I don't get to come down real soon, call me. I'll be happy to talk to any of you on the phone. I'll come down and talk to you face to face in your office. But together, we will be strong for the future. Thank you very much. And go Astros, even though I'm a Ranger fan.